I'm Alexander Stewart with Inside the Ropes, and I'm back again with another fantastic interview for you today. You can see my guest across to my left. We're talking about one of the most charismatic, one of the most creative men in professional wrestling, a man who's forged his own path after his departure from the WWE, and a man that has pioneered the digital age of professional wrestling. It's none other than Mr. Matt Cardona. Matt, how are you doing today?
I'm great. Just worked out, about to get a haircut. I'm a busy man. I'm doing this from my car. Sorry, I'm not doing it from my podcast studio at home, but being always ready, always on the move. You always got to be ready for stuff like this. So, we're doing this interview live in my car.
I think I would be remiss if I didn't talk about the sort of the breaking news that's come out over the last 24 hours regarding Nick Aldis and the NWA. I just want to, without going too much into it, just pick your brain as someone who's in that locker room and has been in the wrestling business for so long. What are your thoughts on kind of the situation that's unfolded and the way that it's played out on social media over the last 24, 48 hours?
Right, where there was the Billy versus Nick thing. But apparently it's legit. And, I don't know Nick very well. We wrestled before. I felt we had great chemistry in the ring. I think he's a total pro. I think he looks like $1 million. He talks like $1 million. He was the face of the NWA for a long, long time, and he did a hell of a job. And if he's leaving, I mean, see you later. It doesn't really bother me. I didn't come to the NWA to steal anybody's spot. I came to create my own spot. So, Nick did a lot of work for NWA, a lot of great work for NWA. It sucks that he's leaving, but I know he will do great whatever he does next, but it doesn't really affect me personally or professionally.
Yeah, definitely. Fair enough. And I think that we are seeing a shift in the NWA kind of top to bottom in the card. It's an exciting time. And I think NWA Hard Times 3 is going to be a real show of that. So again, I'd implore everyone to check out the links below and make sure they're watching. We talked about this creating your own path, your own sort of dynasty post WWE. I want to ask, before we get into that, the kind of independent wrestler lifestyle, what's something about it that you love that you didn't necessarily have back when you were contracted? And is there something that you're missing now that you didn't really fully appreciate when you were in that situation of having the contract and not having to kind of bounce about as much?
These 2.5 years have been the hardest I've ever worked, but have been the most fun, the most rewarding. I think that all the titles I've won speaks for itself. The buzz I've created speaks for itself. I love being my own boss. I love making my own schedule. I love controlling my own destiny. Not everything I do is going to be a home run. Some things will be a single. Sometimes I'll strike out, but at least I try. At least I have that opportunity. All I've ever wanted was opportunity. What do I miss about WWE? Listen, WWE set me up for where I am today. I'm so grateful for my time in WWE. I've often said in interviews that WWE was my developmental, and that's not a negative thing. That's not a shot at WWE. Everything I've learned through that WWE system, how to carry myself, how to be a superstar, how to work hard. That's all from WWE. So I will forever credit them. But the thing I would miss about WWE, listen, I miss wrestling in arenas like Madison Square Garden. I miss wrestling in giant stadiums like a WrestleMania. Yeah, I miss stuff like that. Also, believe it or not, for me personally, I can't speak to anyone else on the indies, but when your schedule is as busy as mine, I think the WWE schedule was easier than my independent schedule because, I'd be on the road, 4 days in WWE as opposed to now 3 typically. But, you would fly in on a Friday and you do all those long drives at night, get to wake up whenever you want the next day. I was so used to that schedule. Now, I'm not, there's no rhyme or reason why I'm taking these bookings. So I'm flying cross country. I'm getting up every morning for an early flight. My schedule shot, my workouts are shot, my diet shot, but it is what it is. And I love it.
No, definitely. I think we can see from just kind of the plethora of places you've been popping up and, Matt Cardona is becoming this international name. We've seen you over here in the UK and down in England for TNT and Progress, over in Ireland for OTT, as well as all over the States as well. You've been taking on a mix of names. Is there anyone that's really caught your eye that the audience should keep an eye out for that, they might not be familiar with?
Over in the States, doing the GCW stuff, guys like Nick Gage, Effie, Joey Janela, they're awesome talents. I've been wrestling all over the place. Like you just said, went to Ireland for OTT. LJ Leary, I had a great match with him. This kid, he grew up, wanting to be the next Zack Ryder, and we put on a fantastic match. I just watched it back. It was like almost 40 minutes long, so we put in some time, from entrance to exit. And it was a lot of fun. The crowd was great. Going over to TNT, a man like Darius, I think he's incredible. He has such a great gimmick. He can wrestle. He's toyetic. He looks like $1,000,000. He raps to the ring. I mean, I just love wrestling all these people all over the world, whether it be the States, internationally. It's a lot of fun, but I got to beat him. Sorry, guys.
Definitely. And I think, like we said, those matches are great. And the LG one in particular, I've seen some clips of that going around social media, and definitely worth checking out. LG's incredible talent, and we all know the ability of Matt Cardona to elevate the guys he's in the ring with. So highly recommend checking that out. I want to ask, because you've been a part of such creative storylines throughout your career, and some that have been on the right side of crazy, some that maybe have been on the wrong side of crazy, but you've always done them, and you've always seemed to kind of go out and do it with full commitment. I want to know, has there been anything that you've shot down? What was that one thing that you were like, no, that's too much for me?
Well, WWE, someone like me doesn't get to shut things down. So trust me, it wasn't my idea to get pushed off a stage in a wheelchair and have my my YouTube show taken away from it. No, that wasn't my idea, but I did it, because that's the business, and there's going to be highs and lows, and whatever situation I'm in, I try to do it to the best of my ability. Whether it's a 2-segment match, or you go out and you're losing in 10 seconds. Whatever I do, I try to make it the best thing possible, because if I'm not gonna represent myself to the best of my abilities, then who is? I don't like to point the finger at anybody or blame anybody else. I like to take responsibility for my success and my failures. You got to take responsibility for the success and the failures. It can't just be when things are great. It's all me, but when things are bad, it's somebody else. You got to point the finger at yourself, look in the mirror, and be realistic.
No, definitely. I think that's completely fair enough. And I think, like I said, you can always see that you go out there with that dedication to making whatever it works, be it getting shoved down in a wheelchair off the ramp by the future mayor or anything like that. It's you've always done it with 100% commitment. I think that's a testament to you as an athlete and as a performer. I want to know, you shared the locker room with some incredible names across your career. There's a lot of stories I can imagine you've got that you can't share with us, but I'd like to pick your brain about maybe one of your favorite locker room stories that you can share with us.
Oh man, you put me on the spot here. Locker room stories. Man, well, I mean, Heath Slater is a locker room legend. I think he's everybody's favorite in the locker room. And one time I was telling the boys in the locker room how I was at the time sending a text message to my ex-girlfriend, but I just sent a blank text message, just like, pressing the space bar and sent it to get her attention. And then Heath said, "You sent a blank text message? What'd it say?" Heath, it was blank. I sent a blank text message. But just Heath is so oblivious to life. And he'll always just spit out these legendary quotes, not even trying to be funny. So Heath Slater, Heath Miller, Heath, whatever you want to call him, locker room legend.
Heath, obviously you're sharing the locker room at the moment with over an Impact, and I just need to ask, because I know it's been stuck in my head. Have you been able to get Joe Hendry's theme out of your head yet? I know you and Brian have been getting pestered by Joe Hendry and his Believement movement.
Yeah, Joe Hendry, somebody I never heard of before he came to Impact, but that song is very catchy, so he's onto something. People ask me like all the time, like, "Oh, how can I stand out? How can I get over like using the internet?" I don't know the answer to that. Yes, I'm the internet champion. Yes, I was one of the first people to use the internet to get myself noticed. But you have to find your own path, and you have to figure out a way to stand out. And Joe Hendry has done that with his online videos, with his songs, with his skits. But now it's put up or shut up. He's got to prove it in the ring as well. And let's see if that happens. He's going after Brian Myers' digital media title. So let's see if he can get it done.
You mentioned kind of being looked at as the kind of the answer to social media questions and getting over. I want to ask, not that question, but in a kind of adjacent way, you've been on social media using it to kind of help get yourself over for a long time now. If you were, maybe not exactly Elon Musk, but if you're in Elon Musk's situation where you're taking over Twitter, what's one thing you would love to change, maybe get rid of from social media?
Yeah, I mean, this has been a hot topic in the Twitter world right now. People are complaining about the $8 verification, all that. Listen. I don't want to spend $8. I will, but I don't think the problem is the verification. I think the problem is like the trolls and the bots. And I think people should to use Twitter should have to say who they really are. You know, and free speech is great. Say whatever you want, but at least have the balls to say who you are. Don't hide behind some fake identity. I think that's very important. I don't know how the $8 a month will solve that. I don't think it does. I think it's totally different. I don't think you can buy credibility. I don't think you can buy, like truth. The whole point of being verified was so like there wouldn't be a fake Zack Ryder. We're like, oh, I'm the real guy. So I don't if anyone can buy a check mark, then who cares? I think the real problem is the trolls and the bots. And listen, say whatever you want. Trash me, trash whoever you want. That's fine. But at least have the balls to say who you are.
No, definitely 100% agree. I think we live in that instant response kind of generation where people are very quick to jump in on everything, and it's it's always the anonymous profiles without their face on there
Sure.
saying the worst things. So
Right.
I think you're onto
Right.
something there. You've wrestled over 1,500 matches now, from teaming with Brian Myers against Dan Barry and Javier back in 2004.
1,500.
1,500.
You know what? I don't have a lot of regrets because you can't live in the past, right? But my number one regret in pro wrestling is not just keeping a notebook of every match, where it was. How easy would that have been, right?
It's
It
one
would
of
have been
those
fucking
things
so easy.
that you can't start now, or
You
if you
can't.
were to
No,
try and do
right.
now, it would take
No. There's no
forever.
way to
But
do it.
yeah, well, yeah. The
I will
number.
say this: if there's a fan listening, if they can do it, and there's no way to prove that it's 100% accurate, but if they can accurately list every single match I've ever had, I'm talking live events, indies, whatever, I will give them $1,000 PayPal, friends and family if they can do it. Now, I think there's going to be inaccuracies, but I would love to see people try, and I will give $1,000 cash, well, not cash, PayPal, friends and family, so there's no fees to whoever does the best job. So I'm putting that out there now.
There, you heard it, guys. That's your challenge. I mean, it's listen. There are wrestling fans with a lot of dedication and a lot of time, so I think you might be getting some people trying to take you up on that offer. So fingers crossed. But yeah, the number I found
Please do.
was over 1,500. I want to know if we had Baby Matt Cardona first wrestling match in front of you right now. What's the first piece of advice to do with the business that you would give him?
Get a fucking 10.
I like it. I like it.
Get a 10.
I saw that apparently your tan's very tasty. That's been something coming out of your recent matches.
Yeah, I saw that. Some guy was wrestling Chance Prophet. He was biting me. He was trying to eat me. I don't know what the hell's going on here. Indie world is a weird, real world.
And finally, because I know you're a busy man, you've got your haircut, you've just worked out. I want to give you time to rest in between as well. I want to know, you recently had an interview a few months ago, and you were asked about the MJF situation at the time, and you said this line about, do you think I believe every goddamn rumor that goes out about me online? And I want to ask, what's that kind of like living, working, and having every kind of micro aspect of your life, from your marriage to your career to your personal choices, kind of reported on and rumored, and it's because it's something I can imagine it can be quite taxing, kind of going online just to check your Twitter and seeing some guy said this is apparently happening, and sometimes it's true, sometimes it might be kind of misled. What's that experience like?
Well, I've been used to it for a while, right? So I've kind of grown some thick skin. And listen, I'd be lying if I said I never got, bothered by some troll who says some little remark. Sure, but 9 times out of 10, you just got to ignore it. It is what it is, and it comes to the territory, right? We signed up for this business. We signed up to be, internationally known. So there's going to be a lot of love. There's going to be a lot of hate. But kind of like what I was talking about before, when you're looking in the mirror, you can't just take all that positivity and like ignore the negativity. Sometimes they might be right. You know what I'm saying? So you gotta, you can't let it bring you down. But sometimes look at something that it might be constructive criticism. You never know. That's how I look at it.
Has there been at any point one particular headline that stands out to you that was just, you know, a report on yourself that was just completely false, and you're sat scratching your head trying to remember or work out how they've come to that conclusion?
I don't remember the exact headline, but it was some stupid one of those wrestling websites did like an article like the top 5 wrestling relationships that won't last, and it was like me and Chelsea Green when we first started dating. So it's like just shit like that. It's like you really took time out of your day to write this, dude.
Somebody wrote that.
You know,
yeah.
I laughed about it. I'm still yeah, like whatever the time it was something like the top 5 wrestling relationships that will go nowhere. It was something like that. But that's stuff you just got to laugh at. You know, it's like you can't take it so seriously, because that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to get under your skin. They're trying to get you to react. And they're trying to, you know, just get clicks. You know,
Yeah.
the clickbait. Life is real, baby.
It's funny you mentioned that. I saw a clip recently of Freddie Prinze Jr. and Sarah Michelle Gellar, who I think had just celebrated their 20-year wedding anniversary after meeting on the cast of the Scooby-Doo movie. And they said they apparently they won some talk show in the States and got told the relationship wouldn't last two months, never mind a year. So it's an interesting one that, like, I can't imagine the thought process that goes in behind, I'm going to write that as an article. But like you say, the clicks business is real. And finally, last one, just tying on to that, because that quote came in the context of kind of discussion about MJF. And MJF's one guy that I don't think I've seen you share the ring with yet. And you're two guys that have kind of really crafted your own legacy in wrestling in a really unique way compared to a lot of the talent out there. Is Max someone you've been interested in working with? And if so, would you like that to be in AEW or maybe somewhere else? And what's your thought on Max overall?
I mean, MJF is a hell of a talent. I think that speaks for itself, right? He trained under my partner, if you will, Brian Myers at Creative Pro on Long Island. So I've known about Max for a long time. I've been watching him grow since he started, and you can tell right away this kid has something. It's obvious now. He has the gift of gab. He can go in the ring. He's starting to work on his physique. I will say this, Max, if you're listening, if you need some tanning advice, and you do, you got to come to me. I don't know what kind of spray he's using. His hands always look kind of funky with a tanner. Come to me. I'll help you out. Listen, I have no desire to go one-on-one with Max. We're in our own different universe right now. Maybe a team with Max. We're both from Long Island. Maybe, you know, we'll team up to some jabronis, something like that. But Max doing great. I just saw he landed the role in a movie on the Von Erich. So congrats to Max. He's doing a great job.
Big Show starts to get up, and he goes. He just completely no-sold it. And I'm like, dude, did you just shit yourself?